My name is Efrem. I'm from the south suburbs of Chicago. I moved here with my wife. We both went to Eastern, and this is kind of the next biggest town between there and Chicago. So we needed a bigger town than what Charleston was, because Charleston was itty bitty, right? And we took a leap of faith, came up here because my wife, she was looking for a teaching job, and there wasn't one in Charleston. So she ended up getting one here, and I guess the rest is history. I was baptized Catholic, and Grandma also was a big influence to us. She lived across the street from the church that she went to. So we spent countless times going to church there with her. And man, if you spent the night at Grandma's house, you had to get up and you had to go to church in the morning with her, or you spent the next 5 hours with Grandpa watching the preachers in the morning. So we went to church. So I always grew up, kind of knowing about Jesus and Jesus being in our life. Jesus was introduced to us at an early age, just in your daily life. Like, you would go through things and we learned to pray. Always prayed before meals and going here and going there. And anytime you talked to Grandma, it always came up in conversation. Where I had my point where I kind of wandered for a little bit, just because we all have that point where you're like, am I sure? Well, I had that point where I got new friends and was looking at different things and went through my whole stage of questioning. Here I am back in church now with my faith firmly put in the Lord. One thing that I did kind of make me question what was going on is that you could have some people who weren't Christian and everything would go right? And then you have other friends who are Christian and they're just pounded with stuff, just constant, and then you just get this feeling like, well, why is this happening to this person? And you know that those are the type of people that you see have the strongest faith. You're going, but why is this happening, Like, and it wasn't until I started reading more, like Job had a really hard life, but at the same time, some people have had it a whole lot easier. And it just makes you wonder. Early on in David's life, everything was, pretty good. It wasn't until later where things got worse, but Job was just constantly stuff. I ended up meeting my wife. When I met Tanissa, I wasn't going to church all the time. You start missing one Sunday, and then it's another Sunday, and before that, once a month turns into twice a month, turns into, I'd kind of strayed a little bit. It wasn't one of my first priorities. And then meeting Tanissa and then getting reintroduced to the church through her totally opened up my eyes, because it gave me a whole different perspective versus everything that I was taught before. I met a whole different group of people who lived different than what I was doing at the time. And to be swallowed up by another group of believers just kind of helped reaffirm that for me. But just seeing my wife and just how everything radiated from her, there wasn't a specific moment, but more a length of time, because it was a huge commitment in her life, how she was involved in the church. She also taught Sunday school there too, and she was part of that team. She was also on the worship team, and I ended up being part of that too, because we both share some of the same gifts. One of the biggest things that drew us into was the playground. Because you know how when you're here and you're just like, it's wintertime, we got to find something to do. These kids have to get some of this energy out, right? And so we're introduced to the church here. And then actually Jordan, he invited us to church one day, been pretty much coming back. It just became a big commitment in our lives because we got to introduce, the kids to Jesus too. And yeah, it was awesome. You never really know what Christ has in store for you, because possibilities are endless. It could be something small now, but that thing could turn into something else massive later. But you can't see it because you're looking at it from your small point of view, and Christ has this ginormous view of everything that's gonna happen. And it could be something as simple as you saying, hey, I'm sorry I can't go because I got to go to church. And And you're like, oh, you go to church, and then it comes up in conversation, and then you just, like, for example, oh, yeah, I go to church. Would you like to come with us? And next thing you know, Jordan did that, and we haven't left. God has a whole different plan for you, even though you may not see it at that time, that it could make a huge difference in not just your life, but someone else's life, and just kind of understanding that everything is bigger than just you. My name is Efrem Tutwiler, and this is my story.
That was money. That sounds great. That was great.
All right.